I've chosen scenario B, where the students have been asked to add together two fractions, 1/2 and 1/3. The most common answer given by the pupils was 2/5, which is incorrect. The students have added together the numerators to give us 2 as a numerator, and the denominators to give us 5 as the denominator. Here they have applied their previous knowledge of integers to the question, but they aren't treating the fractions as individual numbers, which shows that they lack a clear understanding of the fundamentals of fractions and the need for a common denominator in order to add them together. To address this, I would explain to the students that it's necessary to have a common denominator in order to add the fractions together. So if we look at this first question, you've got 1/3 plus 1/3, and using visual representations such as pie charts, we will derive that this is 2/3. Now if we look at it again, we've got all the denominators are the same throughout, but the numerator have followed the addition, so it's 1 plus 1 to give us the numerator of 2. So once the students are satisfied and are able to apply this knowledge to other examples, we'll move on to the second one, where we've got 1/2 plus 1/4. Here the students should identify that we cannot add them together as the denominators are different. So I will explain to them that they are going to have to manipulate the fractions to get the same denominator. They have a prerequisite knowledge of lowest common multiples and will be using this to apply to this question. So if we look at the 1/2 and we look at the 1/4, to get from 2 to 4, we can multiply by 2. And rules of fractions state that for a fraction to be equal, we must do whatever we do to the bottom to the top. Therefore, we do 2 times by 2 to give us 4, and 1 times by 2 to give us 2, which will give us 2/4 plus 1/4 equals 3/4, and that is the answer to that question. Once they've done other examples, we'll move on to the original equation, which is 1/2 plus 1/3. Here, the students are going to have to manipulate both of the fractions, because once again, they would have identified that as there isn't a common denominator, they cannot just add it together. And using the principle again of lowest common multiples, they'll figure out that the lowest common multiple is 6, and once again, by manipulating the fractions, they'll gain that 3/6 plus 2/6 equals 5/6, which is not equal to the original answer they gave of 2/5.